Whispers beyond the veil. In the secluded town of Eldridge Hollow, nestled deep in a forest thick with ancient trees, strange occurrences were whispered among the townsfolk. It was said that on certain nights, the veil between worlds grew thin, allowing supernatural entities to roam. The town carried a burden of unspoken dread, an inheritance from generations past. Alma Winters, a newcomer drawn to the town's forlorn charm, arrived with an open heart and an inquisitive spirit. She had heard the stories, the faint whispers that danced through the air at twilight, the flickering lights in the woods, and the haunting figures glimpsed between the trees. Dismissing them as mere folklore, she settled into her quaint, old cottage on the edge of town, eager to explore its mysteries. One evening, while rummaging through the attic of her home, Alma unearthed a dusty, leather-bound journal. The pages were faded and yellowed, filled with the frantic scrawl of its previous owner. It chronicled a series of unsettling encounters with shadowy beings, described as the Veil Walkers. The more she read, the more her curiosity morphed into an obsession. As nights grew darker and longer, she became enthralled by the concept of otherworldly entities wandering just beyond the thin curtain of reality. A strange compulsion urged her to visit the forest after dusk, lured by the whisperings that seemed to float on the autumn air. Armed with a flashlight and an insatiable longing for the supernatural, she ventured into the woods, feeling a thrill of exhilaration mixed with fear. The deeper she delved into the forest, the stronger the whispers grew, echoing around her, pulsating with an almost sentient rhythm. She could almost decipher words, fragmented snippets of stories, of longing and desperation. Shadows danced between the trees, coaxing her forward, deeper into their realm. Hours seemed to slip away into a nebulous haze. She made her way to a clearing she had never seen before. In the center of the clearing stood a massive, gnarled tree, twisted and sprawling, its bark glistening with an otherworldly luminescence. The murmurs coalesced into a cacophony of soft voices, swirling around her, filling her with an intoxicating mixture of dread and allure. This was the heart of the night, where worlds converged, and she could choose to be a mere observer or a willing participant. Then, among the shadows emerged a figure, tall, ethereal, and cloaked in the echo of twilight. Its eyes shimmered like distant stars, and its presence flickered with an unsettling familiarity. "You seek to understand," it intoned, its voice threading through the air like silk, "but the knowledge you seek carries a heavy price." Quote, Alma took a hesitant step back, her heart pounding, but entranced by the being's allure, she pressed forward. "What is this price?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "The boundary thins tonight," it replied, gliding closer, its form shimmering. "Join us. Witness the worlds entwined. But if you seek to return, a piece of your essence must remain, a sacrifice to keep the balance." Quote, the forest around her seemed to hold its breath, and the weight of the decision crashed upon her. The promise of discovery shimmered before her eyes, knowledge of the veils that separated life from death, reality from the phantom realms. "Every decision begets a consequence," echoed the air, but the intensity of the figure's gaze entranced her. She felt a darkness unfurling within her, reaching for the vulnerability of her soul. "I want to understand," she murmured, eyes fixed on the surreal entity, thoughts swirling like a tempest within her. As she consented, the air shifted. Darkness poured from the tree, enveloping her in a swirling mass of shadows. Pain wrapped around her in tendrils, pulling her essence, her joy, and her sanity into the void. What followed was a fractured vision of swirling galaxies and lost souls, a kaleidoscope of beings drifting between despair and ecstasy. She was shown the veils of existence, the fears that bound the living, and the thoughts that broke the sane. Yet, through her horror, a chilling realization emerged. She was becoming one of them, a mere echo, bound to this realm, forever lost. Time had no meaning within this liminal space. Days bled into nights, and nights into memories lost. Alma felt her humanity ebbing away, replaced by whispers of the Veil Walkers who she had become one with, yet remained so heartbreakingly distant from. Then, one night, a flicker of awareness returned. She stood at the edge of the forest, now cloaked in shadows, her form translucent as whispers slipped through her lips. The town of Eldridge Hollow would never forget the girl who vanished into the woods, but Alma was no longer a part of it. She was a whisper on the wind, a warning to all drawn by curiosity, dancing at the fringes of the veil. As each new night fell, the forest awaited its next visitor, ready to seduce another lost soul, as the whispers of the otherworldly entities played on, endlessly echoing through the gnarled silhouettes of the trees.